I read about this Google developer just did a fat fingering in one of the protocols, and he just brought down the internet for the entire country of Armenia. If you are in security, there's never a dull moment. Every day there's a news that's worthy of headlines.
So why don't we start with your story?
When I was doing my engineering, I realized, okay, I'm not the engineering material. So wanted to be more on the business and technology side and trying to be an enabler. So my route to being a security professional was through the non-hacker persona.
I see a lot of misconception around this concept. What exactly is cybersecurity?
Think of it as a cost of doing business, right? You have to take care of certain aspects, and security is like that. It's always about what is at stake and can a bad guy get to it.
If I go to any company and ask the question like, hey, where does your security live? What does that even mean?
The real answer is security is in the mindset of everybody, but it's easier said than done.
Like say I'm a student or like I am a young professional and now I really need to get into security. Where would I start?
Don't think of cybersecurity as something that's going to take care of your bills. I can make this 300K, 500K salary compared to my peers. That's the wrong way to look at it. They should focus more on...
If you've ever clicked forgot password, or if you've ever picked a USB drive, or if ever clicked on a sketchy link, you have touched security. You just didn't know it. So let's change that today. Let's pull back the curtain one story at a time. Welcome back to 10 Minutes with CISOs. Except today, we are going to take a little more time because today we're going on a tour, a fun, no jargon, story-filled tour to help you understand what cybersecurity really is and why it matters and why you would fall in love with it too. I'm your host, Prasen, and today I'm joined by someone who makes security make sense, Anand Thangaraju. He's a field CISO, and today we'll chat with him and help understand this amazing journey of what cybersecurity actually means.
Of course, yeah.
I've been trying to chase you for quite some time, to be honest.
Yeah. No, I'm all in for that.
So why don't we start with maybe your story, Anand, before we dig into the topic?
I think that context is very important, right? Because people, if you talk to 10 CISOs, I guarantee about 9 of them will say, like, this industry didn't exist. I just somehow ended up there, right? And they get dragged into it.
Yeah.
That's the same case with me too, right? So I started more into the business consulting world, where I did my MBA right when I was doing my engineering. I realized, okay, I'm not the engineering material. So wanted to be more on the business and technology side and trying to be an enabler. But I was obviously focused more on the data side, and slowly I ended up into the risk and compliance world because I worked with a lot of big banks. So for them, they had all these treasure trove of data. They had to comply with regulations and make sure that they have a process in place. And I can see that all these are more business conversations, right? Obviously regulation and how to monetize the data. Slowly, I can see the concept of securing your crown jewels and data emerge. And I ended up in that space of governance, risk, and compliance. So my route to being a security professional was through the non-hacker persona. If somebody is asking, hey, were you a hacker back in the day? No, you don't need to be. And I really appreciate that perspective because it gives you the business perspective of why cyber exists and what are the things you need to really focus on to keep the business afloat. At the end of the day, it's all about that, right? Like what value you're bringing to the table and how are you helping them operate their business. So I got that really soon enough, and my focus to being like a CISO is always around trying to balance the technical capabilities and know-how, like all the tools, fancy tools you can buy, and trying to have the right kind of people and process around it. Because if you look at all the hacks that have happened, despite having all the fancy tools, it's just one human risk factor that you didn't really think about, right? Or something that's completely out of your control, maybe a third party who did a mistake. So it's the big picture. So my journey has always been around that, and I have accepted the fact that I will never be an expert on anything. So I at least want to know and surround people that can help me. Like when things are not going okay,
Right.
I should know what to do, who to call, and it's all about crisis mode at that point.
Got it.
That's the number one skill I think most of the security practitioners should master, because it's all about firefighting.
And who are you as a person? Like, what defines you?
As a person, I think, I mean, my friends will always say that I've always chased different career tracks and have multiple interests. Like even if I have a day job, I'll be doing like 10 different things outside of that, right? And that always keeps me challenging and always learning. And I think that's what uh, I've realized will bring me joy
Got it. Got it.
than just like working 9 to 5 job and
Awesome.
making money and just going on trips. That's just not me. So
Awesome.
definitely I love the people aspect of it.
So let's talk about the question that no one really talks about or talks out loud, right? And that is, what exactly is cybersecurity? At a big picture level, right? If I really want to understand security, what does that even mean? Because I see a lot of misconception around this concept, right? People think or imagine security as hoodies, coders, hackers sitting in the basement, but there's a whole lot of universe that's running behind the scene.
No, I get this question a lot. I mean, the hacker persona is being the most popularized way of describing somebody in cybersecurity. Uh, yeah, I mean, of course, when you think about it, the whole cyber started with the information systems, and it got way too complex to manage, and therefore you needed experts who can actually like have a full visibility and have the right kind of controls. So when you think about cybersecurity, people should really still understand the underlying technologies that are in operational, but that's not the end of the story. So when you think about a strong defense mechanism, you always think about layers. And as I mentioned earlier, human firewall is also a very important aspect, right? Like you talk about all the different attack vectors, you could still harden every single technical attack vector out there, but if you're not training your human firewall, your people on how to spot a potential attack or something suspicious or what to do about it, the entire domino just falls apart, right? So I think it's important to think about security in those layers, and your adversaries are always going to have some kind of an advantage. It's almost like approaching a playing field, right? Like a game where you understand that they're going to get through some of your defenses, but as a team, are you working together to protect your end goal or the whatever is the objective, right? So if you get breached just because you didn't patch one vulnerability, there's serious problems in your environment to start with. So you have to accept breach, accept that you cannot do everything, but you have the right kind of layering to buy time when things are not going your way. Can you at least react to that?
Yeah.
Do you have enough time to even like make your next chess move? That's what I really worry about.
Awesome. Awesome. So if I describe security to a 10-year-old, right? Just in like non-technical terms, how would you do that?
I'll say, I mean, of course, this is a good. This should be one of your other podcast ideas, right? Like, how do you do this for a 5-year-old, 10-year-old
Yeah.
college? That's a great idea. So when I really think about the entire economy and like what's happening out there, everybody has a job to do. Everybody is having fun, making money. For you to continue enjoying this prosperity, you need to protect that, right?
Right.
So I see cybersecurity as a part of the fabric of business ecosystem. Why do people flock to Silicon Valley? Like they know that this is one of the safest places to found company. They can easily find access to talent, money, and they have a safe legal framework to operate it. Like they have everything, all the operating aspects of a business is taken care. You can just worry about building on top of that, right? I think security should be one of those pillars, and something that is taken for granted. It's there on top of which you can build more amazing things. But sadly, that pillar is not rock solid, right? It's that's the hope of many, right? Like, can we build that that entire framework really solid that nobody knows that it's working, right?
Got it.
When
Got it.
when yeah, no, and and that's the goal.
Yeah.
But if I have to describe to again somebody who's new to security, think of it as a cost of doing business, right? You have to take care of certain aspects, just like you pay taxes, just like you when you want to be a big business, you want to have you want to have people like a HR function, you want to have office space and rent, and security is like that. And you want to set aside amount of money, and the more you are thriving, the more revenue you make, you adjust your security posture accordingly. It's not a one and done. You don't say, okay, I'll give you $1 million, go deal with it. Well, I'll go take care of our business. It's always about the business. It's always about
Got it.
what is at stake. What are you doing with your business, and like what are you monetizing? And can a bad guy can get to it, right?
Got it,
So
got it.
so when you think about that, it's always a moving target.
If I go to any company and ask the question like, hey, where does your security live? Right? Because I don't really understand all the pillars or layers of security.
Yes.
And I want to understand, let's say, how does the security function from all of these pillars? And if there's any story that you can tell us, which would be like, hey, yes, this is what actually made me feel that security is real. And if that story would be around explaining all the pillars, that would be amazing.
I love it. I mean, this is near and dear to my GRC background, going back to it, right? So, of course, I grew up in the phase of where security didn't even exist, and it meant physical security, like having a guard for your like protecting your front door, your cameras and stuff. Then after a while, people started associating security as the SOC, right? Like people staring multiple screens and looking for anomalies and how breach is progressing. Of course, that is still important, but that's probably the lowest value add that AI is going to take care, and you can easily automate away, right? So I don't see. I mean, traditionally people see that as the security, like that lives in a separate corner of the office, does what they do best, right? But the real answer is security is in the mindset of everybody. Like the more you're able to educate people how they can be another security champion or professional. This is very cliche. Like if you go to any big companies, they'll talk about, hey, we need to recruit more security champions. We need to go through trainings. But it's easier said than done, right? It's not about creating a training material and saying, oh, this is what you're supposed to do. It's all about bringing everybody on board and helping them embrace the importance of doing things right and doing things in a secure way. And that carries forward to their even personal life, right? Like if like we are so vulnerable in our personal life, you see people getting, even the most well-educated people getting defrauded. So I see that if you can really influence the mindset of people and help them, like nudge them in a way they can do secure processes across everything, right? Secure design, secure engineering, secure testing practices. World will be a better place. So that's the challenge of a GRC or somebody like a CISO who's building their program. They should be spending more time on that rather than buying more tools and trying to find more detections, more threats.
Got it. So you're saying that it's all about the mindset in terms of like how you secure a particular company and
How you secure a business process. Let's think about, right, like every single business activity that's happening can be exploited. So when you think about that way, like how are you seeing the entire business process flow or data flow and securing it in every touch point? Every interaction an employee makes is an opportunity to do it better so that a bad actor is not taking advantage of that. So it's continuous improvement, process improvement in a secure way. So that's where it gets harder, because you cannot just give them a list of CIS top 20 NIST recommendations.
Yeah.
Those are the easy ones, right? Like go buy a firewall, go do these encryption. Those have become like table stakes. The next level of like true enforcement would be trying to bake in security into your day-to-day process. That's what I strongly believe, and I don't think there's easy recommendations you can just go and scrape out of internet.
Got it. So it sounds more like an interesting puzzle solving kind of activity. It's more like detective work that you have to do to understand all of that and secure your processes or important pieces that you would call crown jewels, right? And that's how you would see different layers where you have um, tools that will help you to do your vulnerability management, your incident response, your cloud, your CSPM, DLP, your data loss prevention, and stuff like that, right? So there's like different layers that you stitch together to secure a business process for a particular organization. And that's the mindset that you're trying to put, which is again the detective work in you where you're trying to solve the puzzle. Like, how can I make sure that this particular business process is not exploitable at any given point, right? I think that's kind of like what you're hinting towards. If that is the case, can you hit me up with some like rapid fire facts about security that you'll be like, hey, okay, cool. This is what makes security amazing, or this is sort of like how someone who would understand that it's not just a necessity, but it's wildly interesting.
Yeah.
So what are those rapid fire fun facts about security that people would relate to?
Oh boy, yeah. There's so many. I mean, if you are in security, there's never a dull moment. There's every day there's a news that's worthy of headlines. I'll give you a few interesting things, right? Again, going back to the some of the uh, major threats that happened in the past. Uh, you, uh, you you know that like there's somebody out there with minimal access to internet can bring things down to the knees for a country. Like there's, I read about this Google developer just did a fat fingering in one of the protocols, and he just brought down the internet for all the entire country of Armenia. So that was
Oh, wow.
that was a big story. Similarly, there's been again, this is more like the butterfly effect, right? Like there's things that you think are very inconsequential, but it can have a major rippling effect. Or think about all the phishing that emails that you go through on a day-to-day basis. You you hope that, okay, yeah, maybe the Nigerian prince days are gone, but they keep on innovating. Like even today, there is a new phishing attack somebody chooses to launch. The success ratio is amazing. Like you would be surprised how many people actually fall for that within the first 30 minutes of launching a phishing. And no amount of tools that you have today, like all the products that you have as part of your email, they still get through. I can still see things getting through to my mobile devices nowadays,
Right,
almost every day.
right.
So in terms of again, it's not about just one class of people, right? You have national threat actors who have a different motivation. They just want to launch a nationwide attack. We all saw Stuxnet was the very first like a attack on from one nation to other that had physical implications. It impacted Iran's nuclear centrifuges, and very relevant into the story that's evolving today. Like what's out there in store, it's not going to be the ones that you read about in the news about missiles being launched. It's the real threat is the cyber warfare that's happening behind the scenes, right? And that's always going to be fast evolving from a like a
That's
sensational
why
story standpoint.
one needs to like learn more about security. Do you think that is why one needs to be like, hey, this is interesting. Let me just like at least understand what this means.
Well, one has to pick a lane in cybersecurity because it's so vast.
Yeah.
What are your real motivations? Do you want to go work in a military capacity? There's lots to learn, and in those kind of international politics and scale. Sorry about it. And you have again there is no function that is gonna be I would say left untouched by the cybersecurity revolution. You may not be a techie, you may be a lawyer. You still need to brush up on all the evolving cybersecurity threats and how you're going to protect the interests of your customers, your companies, and to be able to speak the cyber law, or both from protecting customers privacy interests versus your business enterprise. You might be like you might think that you're marketing. What are you doing in cyber? But there's the story of cyber needs to be said in different ways, because so much of creativity. You look at like 6,000 companies out there trying to solve the same problem in a slightly different way. And if you're a marketer, you need to understand the cyberspace too to be able to tell that story in a convincing way. So I firmly believe, like, for again, this is going back to your original question, like, why should students be excited about this? There's enough creativity, enough functions for you to explore and thrive in cyber. You don't need to code a single day. You don't need to be a technical background. If you look at the whole industry as a pie, like it's like what, like the last time I checked, it's 200 billion plus industry.
Yeah.
But set aside the CEO, the CISOs, the security strategists, and that's still probably about like 20% of your expenses, right?
Got
You
it.
still have all kinds of support structure and other organizations, all kinds of products you have to use. So there's enough for everybody to make a dent, is what I'm saying, right? Like, you
Got
don't
it.
need to be a security engineer
Yeah.
to be in
Be
security.
in security. Like, say I'm a student, or like I am young professional who's, because of listening to you or the stories, I'm hooked now. And now I really need to get into security, but I have zero background. Where would I start?
Fair enough. I mean, we are in very good times where you go to any major uh, learning platform like LinkedIn to like whatever. Like, if you, even for security, there's so many focused learning resources that you can find. Even all the universities have a cyber program focused more for the practitioner CISOs versus engineers. You have SANS, again, a big fan of SANS and all the certifications they have. They have a very good map out of different career tracks you can take. But having said that, of course, you don't need to really rely on one particular certification or some kind of validation. You don't need anybody to say you are an expert in anything. I don't believe in that. I've gone through that rabbit hole. I've got a bunch of certifications, all great, but uh, what we really need going forward is people who can think out of the box and think like like a like a product manager or a process specialist. How to apply that is going to be the skill, the true skill, right? Because the actual engineering aspects of it, whatever people had to memorize all the cryptic port numbers and policies and code, that's the easiest one to get automated. But you still can't automate the intent of creating something new. So people have to really be problem solvers and able to connect the dots and think from an attacker's perspective. How can this system break? How can people get in and steal my crown jewel? And you think about building defenses. That's the area that nobody can take it away. Like, no AI can take it away.
Got it.
So I would say, go back to the first principles of systems thinking and educate yourself on like how products will be built in the future, how AI computing is going to evolve, the way the current computer science industry has evolved so far may not be the relevant one, right? Like, think about people who grew up in the on-prem legacy mainframe days. They had to relearn for the cloud, and now we are in another pivotal moment to relearn about AI infrastructure. So I would say, yeah, I mean, be open. If you're a nerd, you want to learn more about computers, go at it. Like, there's going to be enough to learn. But I firmly believe in people who can learn about the problem solving itself and how to be creative in that. And cybersecurity or in all of these are just principles that you apply. If you break it down to that, I think there's enough avenues for you to go and
No, I think
learn.
that's a great advice, because I've heard this from another CISO during a podcast as well. I think the point that he was trying to make, Stanley was the CISO at Earnin, he was trying to make was, hey, there's so many verticals, right, that for you to choose, and it's a beast, right? You don't need to like start anywhere, or you don't need to start so broad that, hey, I want to understand everything, right? For you, what matters is like, go and read a breach report, and like, that is so interesting in itself, right? Like, if someone is breached, there is a lot of like ways in terms of understanding the tactic, technique, and procedure, how they were used to break into a particular organization, laterally move, breach out the data, persist there, and kind of like do all those things, right? So that in itself, the breach in itself is so educational. Whatever interests you in that, right?
Yeah.
Whatever part of that whole funnel interests you, I think you can go and learn more about that and then apply your principle, right? Then do the problem solving in that particular vertical.
Yeah.
And that would be genuinely beneficial, I guess, for the whole world, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I like the perspective because, again, if you are fortunate enough to be in a crisis, that's where the real learning is, what matters for the business and what kind of decisions are being made. If not, yeah, the closest thing is to go and relive the simulation exercise, right? Like what will happen, like going through I love that perspective. And I want to give you another paddle call out there, right? So for you to be really impactful in cybersecurity in the future, again, don't think of it as something that's going to take care of your bills as, okay, I'm going to have a much better rate card. I can make this 300K, 500K salary compared to my peers who are not in cyber. That's the wrong way to look at it. Cybersecurity is going to be crucial for defending your business, right? At the end of the day, it's all about how strong your economy is and what percentage of the money people are willing to spend to protect that revenue. So when you are under a ransomware attack where they're asking, like, say, $1 billion, if you can be that guy who can actually get them out of it in a safe way, that's the true value of what you bring to the table, right? Not everybody can boast that. So the roles that are going to be really valuable are these moments where you can truly differentiate from your average Joe, right? Go become a ransomware negotiator, right? Or
I think that is such an interesting area. I think that this is sort of the problem that I am working on as well as part of my startup, where business of security is really important right now. I think we're kind of headed towards understanding what's the ROI for all of that I do in security.
bingo, yeah.
And I'm not able to calculate that, the level at which a CFO, a CRO, a CIO, or a CDO can do it, right? The way they can talk business in their verticals. I'm not able to do the same in security right now. And I need to run security as a function of business. And that is a huge, huge problem statement. We don't have the right practices, right things, right? And this is an excellent advice for someone who is coming in new into this world of security, that, hey, for you, maybe it's better to learn the technical aspects, which is the firefighting side that all the security is seen over the years. But I think there's more to do with that as well. Like, how am I actually getting the return on security investment where I put in some money for firefighting, but how am I relating that to securing my business? And finding that out and kind of like functioning with that has become so important right now in today's world, right? Because CISOs like you are not just firefighters anymore. Your role has become more like the strategic orchestrator, right?
Yeah.
And at the same level as CEO, CIO, and CRO, right? I think that is kind of like the world has become, I would say.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, I really appreciate them. Another way to look at, I did mention about the cost of doing business. People also think about cybersecurity as a tax. So for a CFO to really understand cybersecurity, like why is that person prioritizing another tax or some kind of like a spend on marketing, because they can demonstrate a better ROI, or they can say that this is what can go wrong. This is how much I'm liable to lose. And that area is still fast evolving. Like we have cyber insurance that took off, and you're able to give a little bit of financial clarity for the CFOs to how to transfer risk rather than trying to do everything in-house. But yeah, if you guys are working around like quantification of cyber risk, I mean, that's the money game. Like, everybody wants to have that visibility from the CFO all the way to risk officers, depending on which function you're operating in.
Right.
Business, I mean, it's all coming down to able to predict the risks and have your strategy. And you talked about all the attack paths, right? So all those are constantly evolving. Like you take every single attack path that has been studied. There's hundreds of breaches that has already happened. Right. So you have plenty of like battle scars and lessons learned. So it should be easy to tell the money story. Like what went wrong, what could have been done, and the ROI is almost always like unbelievable from a CFO's standpoint.
Yeah, I think the learning curve has also really gone down. You have a lot of tools and augmented practices with AI and Gen AI right now that are able to help you with a lot of the security practices which needed a lot of subject matter expertise earlier, right? Like to be a threat detection engineer, an incident responder, like a cloud engineer, you needed a lot of subject matter expertise. I think a lot of that is augmented with AI and Gen AI and a lot of tools that we see in the market. So it's become even more practical to operate at the financial level and operate at the level of like solving problems in security, right? Like real problems and thinking like a detective, to be honest. So I think I really
Yeah.
appreciate that part of security now. And that's why I think more and more people will definitely jump in because the barrier to entry is low at this point in time, specifically with the advent of technology.
I know, yeah, I agree. And like you said, I mean, again, the agentic AI will make things a lot more intuitive. You're just instructing things at some level of what to do, what not to do.
Right.
So people who have no computer background, coding background, this is the time to
Yeah.
learn agentic AI. And also, it might look very powerful, but again, that also means there's going to be new level of attacks and exposures, right? Like you always trying to understand how to use agentic AI in a safe way. I'm I'm super happy to see all the research from OWASP and other communities that's coming out, and it's a great time for like if you have students watching, I would say go join one of the like chapters or one of these bodies that is always looking for people to contribute in different ways, right? Maybe just be a fly in the wall, or if you want to get little hands-on, be part of a working group, get on their weekly calls and put your name on their author list. Those are the ways you're gonna learn fast. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's a fantastic advice. Thank you so much for that, Anand. So I do have like a rapid fire I want to close with. So I'm gonna like quickly go with the rapid fire with you. So biggest myth about cybersecurity.
Oh yeah. Again, it's people think it's a very technical job, but no. Like at least in my view, you need a village to solve cybersecurity. So all are welcome, and it's it's one of the most fun I've had so far, like being associated with the community.
Coolest security job no one talks about.
Oh, I think I talked about that ransomware negotiator. I want to be the guy who is in that spot, like who can actually
What is
like
ransomware negotiator doing?
like think about. I mean, so whenever you are in an attack, if, all of your playbook, everything is out the window, right? And your CEO is saying, okay, Mr. CISO, what are we doing, right? Let's have a crisis call going, and I want hourly updates, whatever. And then nobody knows what to do. So they want to go and bring in an expert. Maybe they have a retainer from Palo Alto Networks or some fancy incident management retainer. They're going to charge you another 100K, 200K to just come in and figure out what happened. That's the more passive aspect of it, right? Or if you're under active ransomware, every minute is money. Like let's say you are a business and every minute you're down, you're losing business, and you have a choice of either paying ransom or finding a way to boot up your system back online, right? If you're smart enough to have an air-gapped data of everything that you had, then you can say bye bye ransomware. We had thought through this,
Right.
and you're not going to pay.
So that's
These are the two ways you can do.
negotiators.
The negotiator is very important to be in that mix to understand the motivations of the attacker, because all about the negotiation is trying to know how powerful the opponent is, what are the real cards they are playing, where are they bluffing. It's very important, and as a CEO, when they are calculating billions of dollars of revenue at stake, the ransomware negotiator is the guy that they want to really pay whatever money you want, just get us out of this mess.
Correct.
So it's an interesting
They actually
role.
negotiate with the attacker.
Yeah.
And then they
Some of it is like off the records and not. No CISA would say, okay, you're allowed to do that. The recommendation is going to be something else, but the reality is you saw the attacks that happened in Vegas, like the two different casinos took a completely different approach, and the ones who decided to pay had the least damage. So you still have to make choices for your business. You're not going to just go by the playbook of CISA all the time.
Got it. Got it. Okay, that's really interesting, by the way. If someone has 30 minutes a day, what should they do to learn?
I would say, I mean, don't restrict yourself to one learning platform or what, but always stay curious. It's all about like trying to discover something new, that a new angle for cybersecurity, and there's enough information, enough experts out there who are putting out their thoughts. So try to always seek out knowledge from unconventional sources.
Got it. Be diverse
Yeah.
in terms of your
Yeah.
learning approach. One real world breach everyone should study.
Oh gosh, that I wish I had a favorite. The one that comes to my mind is of the scale of physical damages, the Stuxnet that I talked about, right? That showed us. In fact, I'll talk about one real world incident and one good thing that happens in some aspects of cyber, right? So, of course, the Stuxnet was the first major attack on a physical system where there's IT and OT convergence. So that's the new trend many are worried about. Forget about people attacking my IT systems and bringing down my servers. What if they can bring down my oil pipeline or my water system? And suddenly it could be like a national crisis, right? So that, and this can happen very much today, like depending on it all is a matter of intent of who is attacking and how much resources they have, because of the fact the whole ecosystem has been architected. There's so many vulnerabilities because we wanted it to be an open architecture. We wanted people to embrace the internet, embrace uh, the cloud architecture, and quickly scale. It comes with its own perils, right?
Yeah.
The one contrarian approach that I always talk about is think about how the Boeing airliner was built back in the day. They also had to embrace all the advanced technology, but thankfully, like knock wood, there's not been a case of a hacker just taking over Boeing airplane and crashing it or demanding ransomware, because it was built in the old proprietary architecture topology. Like it's not an open cloud architecture that we boast about, where people can just quickly come and build something on top of it. So sometimes being very closed, air gapping your critical infrastructure from your IT and other less critical infrastructure is very, very important. And that's one of the reasons why the airline industry is, you can still feel fairly secure flying a plane even today. And also, worst comes worst, let's say a hacker manages to compromise and get in. The pilot has a capability of cutting all the autonomous systems out, and they can safely land their plane. Where like the man in the middle concept is fully taken to the core when they built the planes.
Wow. Okay.
Use that analogy to any other company. Like think about how many CEOs can boast that, like when they're under a like an active ransomware attack, they can forget about that and continue running their business. Nobody can do that. They're all down to their knees. That's the way the new business ecosystem is intertwined. You need to have that mentality of, can I cut out of all the infrastructure I've built for my data and still safely run my business in a safe mode.
Yeah, today's world is so cloud oriented and
Yeah.
like so public.
Yeah.
The kind of services and APIs and things that we're using, it's just incredibly difficult to isolate your system. You can isolate the data, but yeah, that's actually like a really cool story about Boeing. Really something that people should learn about, I guess. A security concept that sounds boring but is secretly fascinating.
Oh gosh, what can I? Of course, it's the human training part of it. Like for talk to any CISOs, for them, the things that they do on the EDR and SIM is going to be the most fancy. But if you ignore like investing in the right kind of trainings and influencing people, all the things you're doing on the tech stuff doesn't matter. So I would say, yeah, understanding the human risk, the motivations of people, psychology, that's where a lot more research. You just go and do research. Like how many companies have even like built products around it? You'll be amazed of how little research and creativity is going into that space. which is the one of the most common entry points. Like oftentimes people, like the breaches start with a human, right? Or their credential. So I want to see more creative like products out there, and which is sort of like psychologically making humans do better things right way, right? Rather than telling them, okay, this is the mandatory training you got to go through and you got to follow. Nobody likes that. Nobody likes to follow rules.
Kind of influencing people to
Yeah.
do the right things in a psychological manner. Okay, wow, that's sounds really interesting actually. What keeps you excited about this field?
Just the fact that the adversaries are having way too much fun. Sometimes I feel like I want to be part of that too. I mean, because they are visioning, they see this new AI come out and they are immediately fantasizing about all the different ways they can
Yeah.
attack and like build a new business out of it. And somehow the defenders have lost that kind of drive and creativity, right? Like we don't we don't get excited too much. I would say we're going after the more tactical wins. Even majority of the product companies that I talk to, when they talk AI, they want to automate this small pain that a SOC analyst has, or they want to get a little bit of benefit out of the new agentic AI. But the attackers are like on a different place. So we really need to get excited about AI. That's one.
Excited about the advent of how attackers can use AI so we can defend against it.
Yeah, yeah. You don't know what's in store, and that's what makes it interesting.
Yeah, yeah. What are you most excited about security at this point in time? And where do you think this industry is headed? And if I'm coming in with that angle, right? If I'm coming into security, what would be the challenges or opportunities that I will be working as a new grad over the next few years with all of those things in mind?
So I'll give you in the like I'll give you in three different buckets, right? So the first thing is the core architecture of cloud and your entire internet is broken, right? And you need people of that caliber to dream big. Like I see that everybody is a security company. Google wants to be a security company. All the ISPs want to be a security company. I hope people dream big and go and fix the core architecture of the security, right? And otherwise, we just end up slapping more and more band-aids. So that's one thing I'm hoping that with the new advent of AI and all the shift of power, right? From it's all about like who controls your compute, who controls your data. It's been, if you did the research, it's not way too many people, but it keeps moving from one behemoth to the other. When Google came on and all the data centers, now the power is going to be with whoever controls the GPUs, whoever controls those AI compute infrastructure. So there is a single throat to choke. There is still a sliver of possibility somebody is able to wield that kind of power and build it right from the bottom up, right? That's what I'm hoping for. And there's a lot of opportunity there. When that is happening, that's more foundational. Like when how foundational models get built, there's somebody with the big money will figure that out. But for a small mom and pop business, they still have to operate. They still need to make money and protect their interests. And for somebody who's coming into a security domain now, there's job at all levels, right? Nobody can ignore cybersecurity anymore, right? Even if it's just a startup,
Yeah.
they're going to have somebody as a cyber expert on their payroll, even at least fractional,
Right.
to keep advising them and make sure that they are compliant with regulations and stuff like that. And eventually getting more into the like how can they build trust around their architecture and their product, so that people will buy their product versus somebody else's. So I think there's enough. What I wanted to say there is like there's scope for people to work at like big enterprises to startups, and as long as you are passionate about security, you'll find a niche there.
Got it. Got it. Yeah. I mean, that was a great answer, by the way. I think with the kind of power shift that's happening towards some of the new advent players, right? When it comes to AI and the compute of it, or even I don't know, like the right now the architecture of entire GenAI is quite centralized, the way we had for computers back in the days, right? Like computers were operated from a central place and then we distributed them to personal computing. And that is how it happened. The same way GPTs are actually right now centralized, right?
Yeah.
The decentralization of it, like having your own basically infra for running your own GPT on your phone would essentially come in the future, right? But until then, it's going to be centralized and someone will hold that power.
You're gonna have both. I mean,
Yeah.
I have to correct myself when I say like, yeah, centralization will bring its own benefits of going back to the drawing board and fixing security at the core. But there's also gonna be more and more risks on the edge, like because people are like more on the road and there's enough power in your endpoints. That's always the balance. Like, where do you want to have the security? Do you want to keep it at the centralized choke point, or do you want to federalize to every single IoT device out there? It's going to be a mix of both.
Thank you. Thank you so
Yep.
much, Anand. I think that was a beautiful chat. And it was exciting to learn some of the stories that you actually told. I'm sure the audience would appreciate to understand more about security in a fun and an exciting way. This felt like a rich story that you told.
No,
I'm
yeah,
sure
Prasen, thank
people
you.
would
Thank you
resonate
for
with
the
quite a bit.
opportunity and engaging with your, and of course, yeah, best wishes for your builder journey. It's never easy, and I'm glad you're able to inspire people, or also like build something awesome. And it's all about like engaging with the community,
Yeah.
right? So you're doing everything right, and best wishes on your journey as well.
Thank you so much for that. And I'm really also looking forward to seeing what you do next. And yeah, thank you. Thank you for
Thank
your
you.
time.
Thank you.
Hey Anand, thanks for being our guide on this tour. You made security feel accessible, alive, and honestly kind of magical. And for everyone listening, I hope now you see that security isn't some technical elite fortress. It's a playground for the curious. If today opened a door for you, walk through it, learn a little more, read a breach report, break something safely. We're going to keep having these conversations, pulling in more insights, more stories, and more people who believe that security is for everybody. Thanks for listening, and welcome to the beginning of your security journey.